All these kits are available and more at www.crazyleds.co.uk. Hi, I'm Mike from Crazy LEDs. Today I'm going to show you how to tear down a set of Corsa D clocks. Some of these clocks have T10 torques here, there, and there. Okay, once you've got your screws removed, you've got 4 clips. 2 clips there, they've already popped out. Really don't have to be too gentle with these, they are a robust set of clocks. Okay, now I'm going to remove the needles. Pull them anti-clockwise, off like that. Nice and steady. If you're not confident, get a couple of spoons, put a couple of spoons underneath and lift them off like that. Now with the needles removed, get the dial, pull it up, it's on self-adhesive, pull it round, and little expose screws here, T10 torques there and there, and you also need to undo the 2 for the mileage display. Okay, these 2 screws have now been removed, all the surrounding screws have been removed. It's a case of just pull the dials, you can get this part, just pull it off. This is the contact pads for your LCD display, they should all stay in place. Okay, I've powered this board up just to show you which LEDs require changing. You've got 4 pieces for the rev counter, 2 pieces for the fuel gauge, and 4 pieces for the speedometer display. For the LCD display, you might have 3 LEDs here. This is a multifunction display, so this has the 6 LEDs. The LED here is a PLCC2, the LED there is a PLCC4. They're not the same, they have different pin counts. This is one of the LEDs that we're going to be taking off. If you notice, you've got a small cut corner on this side. This is your negative, that's your positive. Put a little black dot next to your positive. Do that all the way around the board on the speedometer illumination and the fuel gauge. That way you kind of get lost off which way the LED goes, because if you put the LED on the wrong way, it will not light up, and it might cause another bank of LEDs not to light up also. For the mileage LED is different. This one has 4 pins. This is your positive pin. These 3 here all joined together. These are the negative pins. So again, you can't really get lost off with this one, but if it helps you out, just mark a dot next to all your positives. The LED I've zoomed into here is the needle LED. These are also PLCC2, the same as the ones used for the gauge illumination. Again, cut corner is your negative. Mark a dot if you want to change the colour of the needles. If you want to change the colour of the needles, in most cases you will need to sand the dye off the needle. I'll show you how to do that. To remove the LED, there's a couple of ways to do it. I've got a set of hot tweezers, but most people doing these conversions won't have, so I'll just show you how to do it with a soldering iron. Just using the solder tip. Wet the solder, flick the LED up. Make sure the solder is wet before you do anything like this, otherwise you may pull a track off the board or a pad. Of course, when you're reaching into solder or desolder, just be mindful of things around you. Of course, there's an LED there, you can quite easily burn that LED. Just removing another LED. Desoldering a PLCC4, just use the same technique. And taking care, making sure that the solder is wet before you flick it up. And this gives you a better look at this pad. Positive, negative, negative, negative. PLCC4s that we do only come in certain colours. If you want a different colour that's not available in PLCC4, you need to put a patch over this contact here. Okay, once you've got your LEDs removed, I'll show you this on a PLCC4. You probably find you've got some high spots and some bits of solder spat, etc. Little tiny bit of flux paste. You need the smallest amount. And don't breathe in the smoke, because it's highly toxic. All the LEDs are removed. I've gone over all of the pads, I've fluxed them, I've given them a clean over. Now I'm going to give them a little bit of flux again, ready for the solder process. Flux the pins, I'm going to flux the LED. Just get it in some tweezers, make sure you don't touch the metal contact. Okay, now we're going to quickly put a PLCC4 in place. Remember, these are your negatives. So it doesn't matter if you get a blob of solder between two of these. It's the positive and negative here that you need to keep separate. The customer on this project wanted a different colour, a colour that we don't stock in a PLCC4, which is ice blue. A couple of ways around this. Remember earlier I told you in the video that positive, negative, negative, negative. Well, you can, because all of these join the same one. You can put a patch over that contact there. That will blank off that negative, leaving you free to use the positive and the two negatives here. Quite a bit easier, but the 1206s aren't always available in a good enough brightness for LCD display. You could leave the patch off altogether, and as long as you're careful with the solder, you could put a 1206 across the positive and the negative. Okay, now we've got the LED in place. You don't have to worry about these two contacts here because they're both negative. You don't just put a blob of solder straight across the pair of them if you need to. Then with your single contact, very carefully, power them up. If you want any other colour rather than red for your needles, you've got to really get rid of the red on the needle. You've got 4 small plastic welds there, die grind a bit. The needles apart, you need rid of this top layer of red, like so. When you're putting the needles back on, these needles will only go to the 0 point. Rest them on the 0 point and then